Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck. This is the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists, and here we have probably one of the last LLDS deck profiles that we're going to be running with before the regional season really gets going. This is Alec's list from the Winchester LLDS, and he was piloting pure Sky Strikers, so we're going to run through the list and then get some comments from him about the deck itself. So, triple Ash Blossom, triple Vela, one Ghost Spell, and triple Ogre. Slightly unusual lineup here, but not too much to worry about, to be honest. I mean, it gives him plenty of variety for interaction with the hardest matchups, things like Goki. Triple Ray, one Call by the Grave. Bit more unusual, just a single copy here. He's running the Foolish Goods engine with Metalfoes Fusion, two Desires actually, one Rota, double Area Zero, double Afterburners, one Jamming Waves. This is pre-ban list, so we have two Hornet Drones here. However, he did make the point that Hornet Drones is not that good a card in the pure version, at least in his opinion. Although it's technically a starter card, it doesn't really get you very far through your deck, and in order to actually build up a board, you'd much rather just be in a position where you're searching this rather than just drawing it. One Shark Cannon. Interesting thing he was talking about was the fairly typical known interaction is with the Widow Anchor, where you search for it with Shizuku during the end phase, use it, and then you get to set it again with a multi-roll. He said that the Shark Cannon kind of fulfills an interestingly similar role in that sense that it's just a free banish during the end phase and potentially a free banish plus a free interaction during your opponent's turn as well if you have the multi-roll life. Some triple Widow Anchor, double multi-roll, triple engage obviously, two terraforming, so this is ban list legal now, it's all good, and one Upstart Goblin as well. For the extra deck, double Hayate, triple Kagari, and triple Shizuku. I don't think this lineup will ever change in the Sky Striker list unless something crazy happens. One Topologic Bomber, one Ngesu, one Unicorn, one Phoenix, and one Cerberus, one Link Spider, and one Isolde to go with the cherries that we will see in the side just a minute. Triple Typhoon in the side. Pretty interesting, he's gone for this kind of spell trap removal, although it does reasonably make sense given that Imperial Order and Anti-Spell Fragrance are very popular side deck choices for decks like True Draco, and there are many Floodgate decks, or at least decks that can bring in Floodgates within the LLDS format that you have to be aware of. One Impermanence, I believe if this was at 3 he would have played it over the Velas, a second Call by the Grave, an Eagle booster for when it's necessary, triple Twin Twisters for back row decks again, triple Ghost Reaper, and then interestingly double Gamma Seal and one Humongous. These are essentially ways to deal with a Goki board as well, so that's pretty interesting there too. Very useful in the mirror match actually, on top of that. And so that's it for the list itself. Let's get on to the queries that I put to Alec and the answers that he gave us. So why did he play pure Sky Striker? He thinks that it's the deck that is favoured against pretty much everything except for the Trickstar variant. He also just really enjoys playing a super grindy, resource-based game. Then we saw in the list there isn't an Ibli, there are no Skyblasters or Diabolos or anything like that. He says that because Sky Striker is such a very sort of, in a sense, combo-y deck, because it needs a lot of live cards in turn 1 in order to do anything, you don't really need a load of other cards. You'd want a ton of hand traps so that you don't auto-lose to Goki, and you don't really want anything that isn't either an enabler for your deck or an interaction against something like Goki. So the Diabolos, Sky Strikers, the Skyblasters, sorry, and the Ibli, those kinds of engines don't really do either of the things that he wants his cards in the deck to do, so he decided not to run them. Then the particular hand traps that he went with, he's gone for these, he says the hand traps are purely for Goki, they're all super mediocre in every other matchup, so he cited them out a lot, but the theory is that bad hand traps for a matchup, something like Ghost Ogre versus Trickstar, are certainly better than bad tech choices for a matchup. Things like Twin Twister versus Goki, so maining hand traps over the utility spells is just overall a safer bet. Then for the hardest and easiest matchups, obviously he said the Trickstar Sky Striker matchup is really bad. Widow Anchor is terrible versus Candina, and Light Stage is really hard to beat because it just gradually outs your resources. But otherwise he thinks that the deck is favoured against pretty much everything. You main so many hand traps, your engine generates a lot of interaction, which Trickstar Sky Striker doesn't really do, and the engine is really hard to interact with. As for changes he'd make to the list, he would have mained Shared Ride over the Desires and the second Afterburner if he had them. Shed Ride is just, he considers to be broken right now, versus pretty much everything, and plays very well with the main infinite hand traps kind of plan. Likewise, he would have sided Mind Crush if he'd had access to. It's really important for that Trickstar Sky Striker matchup, and you want something, some number of sort of real traps post side to play when you're likely to get kaiju'd. As for the new list coming in, he doesn't think that it really requires many changes. Obviously, drones is going to go down to 1, but he thinks it's really bad in the pure version of the deck, and he only played 2 anyway, so he doesn't mind losing a single copy. He thinks that you'll still need to main a bunch of hand traps for whatever the best Isolde type deck is, whether it's Goki or something else. So thanks very much, Alec, for bringing on your list and sharing all of this information with us. What do you guys think of this Pure Striker list? Is this the kind of look and feel that you think we'll be having for the upcoming deck in the next few months? And is this the kind of thing that is going to be powering through and taking control of Utrecht? We'll just have to see. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.